Why does this unattractive girl still reside in her parents' house? It's quite bothersome. Could you kindly vacate the premises immediately? You clearly don't belong here. Pack your things and return to your parents' house. About a month after my husband passed away, I found myself living with and caring for my mother-in-law. These harsh words were directed at me by two individuals. Did I do something wrong? I've been contributing by paying $3,000 a month for rent. However, if they view me as a nuisance, I'll leave the house as they wish. A month later, an apology came from my mother-in-law, tears streaming down her face. But apologies alone won't resolve the issue. I decided to share a surprising fact with her. It had been a year since I married her son, and we had been living in their house. My husband and I shared a love for camping and outdoor activities, quickly bonding and leading to our marriage. Now I was taking care of my mother-in-law, who had been alone since my father-in-law's passing. Her initial animosity turned into gratitude, and we built a genuine parent-child bond. My husband and I had a decent income, and we were giving her $3,000 a month as rent. Despite this, financial troubles arose. My sister-in-law, who didn't live with us, began making frequent demands for money. I intervened when she asked for financial help, suggesting ways to cut expenses instead. My husband, realizing the need for his sister to become more self-reliant, firmly advised her to stop depending on their parents. This created a rift, but my sister-in-law reluctantly changed her behavior regarding money matters. Since my father-in-law's passing, my mother-in-law had been more lenient with money, often granting her children's requests. However, it became apparent that my sister-in-law was exploiting this generosity, demanding larger sums of money. Taking charge of the family's finances, my husband managed the situation. One day, as I went to work, he wasn't feeling well and had gone to the hospital in the morning. At first, I believed it was just a common cold, but during lunch my husband called, revealing that it wasn't just a cold. They had discovered cancer. The tests indicated that it was quite advanced, and I was told I had approximately a year left to live. His shocking words rendered me speechless, and panic set in as my thoughts froze. After standing still for a while, reality hit me hard, and I rushed to the hospital where my husband was. At that time, my husband still had enough strength to converse normally, but as the treatment continued, his strength diminished. After 6 months, he could hardly talk. 7 months later, struggling to breathe, my husband tried to convey something important to me. The content of his words was surprising and left me in shock. I spent several days absorbed in those thoughts, but a week later, my husband passed away. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't grasp what was happening. However, after his passing, I was busy with a funeral week and settling his affairs. Days passed, and just when I thought I could finally start coming to terms with my husband's death, an unexpected incident occurred. I have something to talk about. Is now a good time? My sister-in-law asked. Of course. What would you like to talk about? How much did you hear from my brother? Actually, I heard that a spot opened up in a very popular nursing home that's hard to get into. Why don't we consider admitting Mom there? My brother is no longer here, and taking care of that old lady must be a hassle for you, right? My sister-in-law's smirk about this topic made my heart clench. To bring up such a topic right after my husband's death, but looking into her eyes, I could tell she was serious. This house is too big for just that old woman. Don't you think it's a waste if my family and I live here? You can live alone without any worries. I think it's the best choice for everyone. While my sister-in-law didn't say it explicitly, her remarks gave the impression that she had been eagerly awaiting my husband's death. The way she trivialized my husband's death and her disdainful attitude towards my mother-in-law, I couldn't tolerate it anymore. I appreciate your suggestion, but I have no intention of doing such a thing. I plan to continue living with my mother-in-law, taking my husband's place. When I firmly declined, my sister-in-law left the house in a bad mood. Originally, it seemed she viewed my mother-in-law as a convenient source of money, so her attitude was not surprising. However, I was honestly shocked by her blatant actions. Nonetheless, I had no intention of letting my sister-in-law have her way, nor did I plan to put my mother-in-law in a nursing home. But an event a week later shook my resolve. Upon returning from work, I found my mother-in-law glaring at me angrily, and my sister-in-law smirking beside her. "I'm disappointed in you. I want you to leave this house. How dare you plan to put someone in a nursing home without consulting? What are you trying to do, take over the house?" "No, that's not my intention." "What do you mean? Why don't you just be honest? It was your proposal, wasn't it? You said to put Mom in a nursing home and sell this family home, and suggested we split the sale proceeds, didn't you?" "I never said such a thing." Shocked by this unexpected betrayal, I struggled to speak, but managed to express my thoughts. I was genuinely taken aback, completely unprepared for such forceful tactics just because things weren't going her way. The pain and sadness enveloped me as my mother-in-law looked down on me as if I were worthless. "I don't consider you family anymore. Please leave this house right now," she shouted at me with rage on her face. It seemed my mother-in-law had no intention of listening to me. "Understood. If that's what you want, I'll leave as you wish," I responded. Perhaps my sister-in-law had influenced her, but this was a clear betrayal for me, as I had decided to continue caring for my mother-in-law in place of my husband. I quickly packed my things and decided to return to my parents' home. I needed to find a new place to live and had a lot to do, but being kicked out by my mother-in-law deeply hurt me, so I decided to rest at my parents' home for a while. About a month later, my sister-in-law accused me of withdrawing money from our parents' account without permission. "Is that you? You withdrew money from our parents' account without permission, didn't you? Why is there not a single dollar left in the account?" "Don't say such ridiculous things. Are you calling me a thief now?" "Pretending you don't know. If you keep doing this, I'll get the police involved. Come to our parents' house right now." After saying this, my sister-in-law abruptly hung up the phone. Caught in someone's conspiracy and now being accused of theft, I had had enough. I had anticipated issues with the mortgage of the family home. There must still be several years of mortgage payments left unpaid. Honestly, I didn't have the time or energy to deal with my sister-in-law. I wanted to cut ties, but I had reasons why I couldn't. There was still a truth I had to reveal. With a heavy heart, I immediately headed to my in-laws' home. Just like the day I left, my mother-in-law glared at me, and my sister-in-law was there too, giving me the same look. Did he steal money from the house or withdraw it from the account? "I don't know, but give it back quickly. You both were working, right? So, there must be a significant balance, right?" "What are you talking about?" "There's nothing left of my father-in-law's inheritance. We've been covering all the living expenses and rent. Do you think the inheritance would cover everything?" "What, really?" My words left my sister-in-law looking at my mother-in-law in surprise. It was clear that there was an understanding between the two. My mother-in-law knew that we had been financially supporting the family home, but she probably thought that my father-in-law's inheritance was sufficient for a while. However, the actual situation was quite different. Maybe in this situation, isn't my mother-in-law the victim? Mother-in-law, it was your daughter who was misusing father-in-law's inheritance, wasn't it? At that moment, my mother-in-law's expression changed dramatically. There was an air of confusion, as if she couldn't grasp what I was saying. But I never lied to deceive others. The attitude of my sister-in-law made it clear that what I was saying was true. Her expression changed the moment the inheritance was mentioned, even though she had been glaring at me sharply before. "I've seen through the schemes you've been plotting and the misdeeds you've been committing. Actually, my husband revealed to me that since we started living together, he took over managing the household finances. He noticed a significant decrease in the inheritance supposed to be received by my mother-in-law, and he found it abnormal. Moreover, my sister-in-law's frequent and unusual financial requests seemed suspicious to him, so he confronted her. It turned out she had withdrawn cash from the inheritance without any permission. She was actually stealing. Wait, is that true?" My sister-in-law stammered in confusion the moment I revealed the truth. My mother-in-law's anger immediately turned towards her. It seemed my mother-in-law hadn't realized the money was gradually decreasing, as she had been living modestly since my father-in-law's passing and never paid much attention to finances. My husband, being in accounting, was aware of even minor financial changes. This misdeed came to light when he confronted my sister-in-law. Yet, for my mother-in-law, her daughter remained precious, leading my husband to keep it a secret under the promise of repayment. The reason my husband sternly stopped her from borrowing money from my mother-in-law was because of this. I only learned about this a few days before my husband passed away. It was truly surprising, but it seems to be the truth. To steal someone else's money, even if they are family. What were you thinking? Can't you differentiate between what's right and what's wrong? My mother-in-law berated my sister-in-law. Stop making excuses, you thieving cat. Her face became increasingly red with anger, as if she was about to burst a blood vessel. Although not someone who clung to money, she had a strict moral compass, especially harsh on acts of malice and betrayal. Her decision to disown me, seeing my act of sending her to a nursing home as a betrayal, was also based on these values. These values applied not just to me, a non-blood relative, but also to her own daughter. However, I had more to reveal. Also, the large amount of money you got by betraying your family was used for gambling, right? Huh, wait a minute. What are you talking about? My sister-in-law feigned ignorance. I've investigated everything. You'll understand if you look at these. I showed them several photos from an envelope. Pictures secretly taken by my deceased husband, clearly capturing my sister-in-law entering and exiting a casino. Your husband works for a foreign company, and you should be financially comfortable. My husband always wondered why you were so desperate for money. The investigation unexpectedly revealed your gambling addiction. Tell me, how enjoyable was it to gamble with someone else's money? What is this? This is called stalking. This is no joke. You're calling others thieves, and now this. And there's something else I need to tell you, mother-in-law. It was your daughter who suggested sending you to the nursing home. You know what? Finally, I've reached this point. It's time to reveal everything and then bring this to a close. My sister-in-law's true nature, previously unnoticed, was revealed through this incident. This should make my mother-in-law realize that blaming me was a mistake. Additionally, my mother-in-law was also manipulated by my sister-in-law's schemes. With the truth out, she should understand my position. I'm not sure if this will be conclusive evidence, but I want you to see this. I said, presenting my mother-in-law with the text messages between me and my sister-in-law. The history showed my sister-in-law sending me numerous links and nursing home suggestions, serving as evidence of her scheming. Were you really planning to abandon your own mother? That's not it. It's all a misunderstanding. Please just listen to my side of the story. My sister-in-law pleaded. It seems you plan to kick my mother-in-law out and live here with your family, right? This house isn't that old. It's still perfectly livable. Who was it that was thinking only of themselves, trying to take everything? Can you think about it calmly for a moment? As I spoke, my mother-in-law seemed to grasp the situation. She then looked at me sadly, as if she knew what she did was wrong, and turned her angry voice towards my sister-in-law. How selfish can you be to repay kindness with betrayal after all this time thinking of you as family? How do you see me? Don't mock me. Wait, just listen. There's a huge reason for this. At that moment, a loud noise echoed from the hallway, and footsteps followed as my sister-in-law's husband entered the room. Sorry I'm late. Got caught in traffic. It's okay. Oh, mother-in-law, I hadn't told you yet, but I asked him to come. I left the house key open so he could enter any time. Surprised by the sudden appearance of my sister-in-law's husband, both were taken aback. I explained the situation, and they quickly understood this issue wasn't just between me and my mother-in-law. It also affected my sister-in-law's husband. My sister-in-law's husband could easily access his salary and savings, raising further suspicions as she had been embezzling my mother-in-law's money. I had spoken to him in advance and arranged for him to hear the conversation via phone. I've been listening from the start. Enough with the excuses. Just admit your mistakes already. That's despicable. But what you've done is a serious crime. I was shocked when I checked the bank account earlier. It was a big mistake to let you manage our finances. The atmosphere froze in an eerie silence due to the incredible anger of my sister-in-law's husband. Having said all I wanted to say, I decided not to intervene further and just silently watched my sister-in-law's husband lecture her. His reprimands were so intense that it made me tremble just watching, but I didn't feel bad for her at all. I only thought about ensuring she repays the money, and that she shouldn't assume this would be the end of it. The lecturing continued for a while, and eventually, she knelt down to apologize to both me and my mother-in-law before leaving. According to my sister-in-law's husband, he had left the management of their household finances entirely to her, thinking they were saving and increasing their savings by cutting back on expenses. However, it turned out she was gambling away all the money saved. As her gambling intensified, she eventually incurred debts on her credit cards and began stealing money from my mother-in-law to pay it off. The total amount she owes from various sources is now more than what she has stolen from her husband and mother-in-law. Her husband, upon learning about this, decided to divorce her but plans to make her work to repay the full amount for the money she stole and the child support she misused. Until then, he had no intention of divorcing her and was constantly monitoring her behavior, hoping for her to change herself. It seems tough days are ahead for my sister-in-law. Later, my mother-in-law apologized to me for the misunderstanding, and we still meet for tea about once a month. Now that my husband has passed away, I want to maintain a good relationship with her, the mother who gave birth to him, and support her to the end.